Hey everybody, welcome to Sid's Little Corner of the Internet. We've got another Transformers review coming your way. This time around, I'm really excited about this one. We're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Masterpiece movie series MPM-14 Bonecrusher. So this was Bonecrusher as we saw him in that 2007 movie. Oh, so briefly in my opinion. But let's go ahead and take a look at that packaging first. And this is big. It's all big. It's Masterpiece big. So there you have Masterpiece movie series. You have all that sweet product shot right there. There he is in his alt mode. Transformers MPM-14 Bonecrusher. Over here on the side, you've got that face only a mother could love. And then you've got another view of his alt mode. And on the back, you've got a lot going on back here. So you've got a couple of product shots of that face. And you can see where he's pretending to be Popeye a little bit there. And then here he is with all of his flame effects on. And yeah, there's a picture of his arm. That's really cool. And then you have his two big forks, scoops, whatever you want to call them. One for the vehicle mode, one for the robot mode. And then there he is in that vehicle mode. And it's Transformers. And if you look down here, it's kind of cool. Manufactured under license with General Dynamics Land Systems. So I don't know what the name of this vehicle is, but it's officially licensed. Really cool. You got all your stuff down here. You got your warnings and your sad baby. And the baby is sad because Bonecrusher's scary. And then over here on this side, you have MPM-14 Bonecrusher alt mode. Up top, you have Bonecrusher alt mode. Down low, you have all that good stuff if you care to read it. So I'm going to carefully put that box back so as not to hit Mr. Crusher. Now we'll get that box and that turntable out of the way, and we'll bring Bonecrusher in and take a look at all of his goodies. Behold, laid out here before you is everything that came inside that box of Bonecrusher, and we'll start right over here on the right-hand side with your little sheet of warnings, and then you do have your rather sizable instruction booklet. According to the instructions, this guy converts in 81 steps. You can consolidate some of those, but yeah, there's still a lot going on here, so you get a nice big booklet. And then you've got a ton of accessories. We're just going to start right up here in the front. You get 6 unique flame effects. So not a lot to talk about here, other than the fact that they look good. And they are specific to certain areas on his body. But yeah, you can see, and they're soft plastic. So somewhat flexible there. And each of them mounts a different way. So you've got uniquely shaped connectors for each of those. But yeah, you get 6 of those. So there's 1, 2, 3, well, I think we all know how to count here, 4, 5, and 6. So 6 flame effects, very cool. And then you get a lot of other stuff going on here. So let's just go ahead and start right here in the center. This is that boom arm that he uses for his claws. So this is removable. You can leave it on, take it off. You've just got this style of connector right there. So it's up to you. You've got a joint on here, right here, where you can angle that down, angle it up, and then you have the ability to rotate right here. So you can rotate that, or you can split this, and then right here is your connector for the claws, which we will talk about next. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll start with your standard issue claws. So these are your alt mode claws, and they're slightly different on each side. Relatively speaking, they are a mirror of each other, except for this little winch or this hook right down here. So we're just going to use this guy, and we're going to focus on that. So you've got a good amount of detail here. I would have liked to have seen some paint on this stuff as well. I think they missed an opportunity as far as that goes. But detail's pretty good. And then you have these claws right here, and they are individually articulated. So you can do something like that if you care to do so. As far as range of motion goes, they go up that far, and they go the other direction that far. My camera keeps wanting to focus on Bonecrusher. We get it. We'll get to you, man. We know you're important. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, these are pretty good. And of course, you put them together, and then they look like a solid piece, as you may expect that they would. So there you go. And oh, as far as connection goes, let's go ahead and just get that out of the way. So to do these, you've just got a slider. So you can see as far as the ends go, you've got that female, you've got basically a male there, and then you're going to push them together until they click, and then you have them connected, and then you do the same thing on this side and push those together, and then you have your big arm, and then of course tab everything together, and then there it is as you would see it on the vehicle. But you can split them and have whatever fun you want, I suppose. So that's up to you. But yeah, there you go. So that's how those work. Sorry about that edit, but let's get back into it. So yeah, just to get these apart, you just pull at the spot where they went together. So give those a pull, and it takes a little bit of force to pull those apart. And then you're ready to set those off to the side and then get the big boys. So let's go ahead and take a look at his bot mode claws now. These are a little Wolverine-esque, I guess. Way too many claws. I know it's way too many claws, but reminiscent of Wolverine. Alright, so as far as detail goes, there you go. Same thing as I said on the others. Looks pretty good. Could have used some more paint. These are articulated in a different fashion, so you can see you've got each of these roots right there, so you can do a little bit of maneuvering on these. You can also do some rotation on those, whatever you want to do. So if you want to have them back like that, spread out, you can do that. If you want to have them closer together, have them down. I think you get the idea. And then you can, of course, when you put them together, you can make that kind of semicircle grabber right there if you want. Ooh, they mesh together. Ooh. Anyway, yeah, so you can do that. They mount the same way as the others did, so you just take this and push it in, and there you go, and you're ready to go. You also have a point of rotation right here, so you can move this around to whatever angle you want. You've got this little tab sticking up right here, so it's kind of a hard stop, but if you go the other way around, you can just jump right up over that side and then take it around that far. So totally up to you, whatever you want to do with that. Typically speaking, in the bot mode, these are going to be the ones that are on, and they're going to be sitting, something like this on his back, give or take, but you do you, however you want to do it. All right, so that brings us down to our last two accessories. He does have a couple of faces that he comes with. He has his standard face, basically just a face mask in this circumstance. So if you look at that beautiful face right there, it's a little insectoid, and then you've got this mask that you can put on him. This is the Bonecrusher as we know him style of mask. And then you have Popeye mask, so replicating that scene in the 2007 movie where he has a little bit of trouble caused by Mr. Prime. So there you go. These go on and off pretty easily. Nothing major to talk about there, and we'll demonstrate that when we bring Bonecrusher in for his details, which we're doing right now. And here he is, the main attraction, so let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and bring him in and take a look at Bonecrusher. And instead of starting at his head, we're going to start up here because, well, hey, that's a little bit taller than his head. So you can see he's got that nice sculpt work going on up there. I like the touch of the tires right there. Looks pretty good. Windows here. I love this touch right here with the windows on each side making up his shoulders. Really, really cool touch. And then there's that face. Of course, this is the face without the mask. Looking very insectoid. He's got those little beady red eyes and those crazy little mandibles right there. And then coming down, you've got that Decepticon symbol. Nice whatever is going on there for his throat or his neck. And then you got a couple of balls just hanging out right here. So it is movie accurate, but just kind of weird. Got some paint application down here, kind of giving that weathered look. And making our way down. A couple of nice touches here. Now, you do have some die cast in this guy, so you've got a few pieces of die cast throughout, arms, so on and so forth. So he does have some pretty good weight to him, but some nice touches. Right here in the legs, if you look in there, you've got some painted mechanical detail. And then these wheels, just the way that everything wraps around them is really cool as well. And coming down here, a little bit more detail. Just not a rarely seen view, but here's Bonecrusher from below as if he was stomping on you. And then coming down, taking a look at those legs. Pretty good looking as far as that goes. You've got some weathering paint right there. You've got some detail inside. So very well done. Coming on down to those toes. And it looks pretty good. The only thing that I would say, you don't really notice it on the other wheels, but you do notice it on these wheels down here. On the inside, they're just hollow. Now, I would say that also that although he does have some paint on him, he would have benefited from some more paint as well. So you've got a lot of these areas, and we'll see on his arms as well, where I think that he could have benefited from some more. This central area right here, I think it looks pretty good. I just could have used some more on those arms and then down in those lower legs / toe region. So let's go ahead and give you a side perspective of this guy. And we're going to move him back, and I'm going to do a quick camera adjustment just so you can see what's going on. And there you go. So yeah, he's pretty slim. I have no complaints here as far as that goes. I think they've compacted him up pretty well. Now, admittedly, you know, when you put his claws on his back, that makes up a little bit more girth. But the actual body of him, I think, comes together pretty well. All right, so let's go ahead and get these arms out of the way real quick. And take a look at what you've got on the side. So there's those claws. You got those wheels. I do want to show you something really cool. I was going to show you in alt mode, but I'm going to show you now. Those wheels say Megatron. They have the Decepticon symbol on them, and then they've got the tire pressure on it. So there you've got your radius there, and then it says tubeless, not tire pressure, sorry. Then right there in tiny print. So you've got the 16, radius 20, and something I can't quite read there, tubeless, Decepticon, Megatron. But yeah, just cool little touches like that. I love it. And then coming up the side, I'll be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure what to do with this, so this may not be in the right place. But yeah, we're just going to pretend that that is where it belongs. It may very well be where it belongs. And you've got the window there. And then taking a look, starting up here at the shoulders. Again, those windows, really nice. Looking at these arms, so you've got this body panel right there for the alt mode, and then you've got this die cast right in here. Looks good. Up inside, everything's coming together pretty nicely. I do like what they've done with the arms here, but then you get down here, and then this is where I think he could have used some paint. So good detail, nice sculpt work, and then those hands could have used something. So I think they missed the mark just a little bit as far as that goes. But yeah, come together looking pretty darn good. We gave a bottom view. Let's go ahead and give a top view. So there you go. And then taking a look at him as he's walking away from you, because he's a very non-violent bot. He would just walk away gently. So looks good back here as well. A lot of screw holes. So that's to be expected though when you've got a figure like this. I mean, you're going to put the screw holes in the back, I suppose. So, but overall good symmetry on this guy. And even from the back, doesn't look too bad at all. So bringing him back, looking at some of the details there. There's the windshield. And then this is kind of unique. This actually does not come together like this in his bot mode, or excuse me, it does come together. There is a gap. It's supposed to be there. So just wanted to point that out. And then you've got some mechanical detail up in there. If you look up here, he gets a little hollow, but that's what this is for, is to cover that up. So no complaints. This seems kind of blank. Some paint or something could have done wonders on the Bonecrusher butt. And then looking at the backs of those legs right there, backs of the arms. Again, great detail. It says Bonecrusher right there. We'll see that in the alt mode. And coming back, looking right there. All that looks good. Yeah, so overall detail on this guy, I think they nailed it. I think he does look very movie accurate. A lot of wonderful shelf presence on this guy for sure. So now we'll go ahead and we'll move on to the articulation for this figure. And yes, he does have the articulation right up here. So you can move these whichever way you want. And then, of course, when you add his claws, you can have them over his head. You can have them snatching things, whatever you want to do there. So really cool. Moving down to the head. The head's pretty good, really. So I'm hoping that I can get a good view of this, but you've got some down that you can do right there. It leaves a little bit of a gap, but it does allow him to do some down, and then additional down on that ball joint right there. Additionally, you can have him looking up that far. Again, leaves just a little bit of a gap. So if you want to keep that static like that and just work on that ball joint, you're going to be a little more limited, but not in too much. So I think it's a good range of motion. You can twist his little head. So if you want to have him looking at you like that, you can do that, left, right, that kind of stuff. So I think it's a good range of motion for a ugly insectoid Bonecrusher head. So no issues there. Now coming on down to the shoulders, if you move this little panel out of the way, it's going to give you just a little bit. You just got to be really careful. So you can raise his shoulders up that far at that joint. If you hold that down, you're kind of limited right there. Just be careful not to hurt your shoulder right there. So just be careful with that panel right there. You can do a full 360 with the shoulder on ratcheted joints. And then you've got double hinged elbows. I'm going to move my camera down just a little bit more. This is a big guy. I'm trying to show you everything properly here. So you've got that joint right there, and then you have this joint right there. So you can get a nice tight fold as far as the bicep goes. So job well done there. 2 points of rotation. Then you do have a bicep rotation right there just above the elbow, and you can go all the way around if you want to. And taking a look at those hands, getting those right in your face. You have wrist rotation, so you can go all the way around, and then you have the thumbs, 2 thumbs if you want. You can go out or go back that far. You can go in this far. You can move them out, and you can bring those fingers in if you want to get weird. That's totally up to you. So if you want to do something like that, that is up to you. So a good range of motion as far as that goes. Oop, just pop that panel loose. All right, so very well done as far as the hands go, in my opinion. I do like them. And then coming down to the waist, no ab crunch, but you do get full waist rotation. Just be careful as you're moving them around what you run into. So if you need to get these little guys out of your way, just take them down a couple notches and then give them a twist, and you can go all the way around. So pretty well done. Coming down to the legs, so starting off with the splits. So you can get a full split out of this guy, and that's not weird, but you never thought you'd see Bonecrusher in that position, did you? But there he is. All right, and kicking forward on those ratcheted joints. That arm out of the way. Nice forward kick. Kicking backward, again, keep these in mind. As you're moving, they're going to run into things, so they're on ratchets as well, so you can take those back a little bit before you start running into things. All right, so pretty well done there. You do have thigh rotation, so right there, really just above the knee, but you do have rotation right there that you can take advantage of. And then coming down to these feet. Hoi. All right, so these feet, you do have ankle tilt if you disconnect it, so you can get some pretty extreme ankle tilt there, which goes well with his splits. And then you have some individual motion back here. So you've got this, whatever you want to call it, the heel, I guess. You want to move that back, and then you've got a point of motion there that you can take advantage of. And then, which one is it? One of these in here moves as well. But you do have these locked in, those wheels on either side. So that really helps with the stability as well. So pretty good. I think it's kind of fun, and I'm going to have to do it. So whether you like it or not, I'm going to get your arms up out of the way. There you go. Hey, all right, there you go. It's not a perfect split, but this tickles me because I just like making Bonecrusher do silly things. So yeah, overall articulation for a masterpiece figure is pretty well done, especially one that's as funky shaped as Bonecrusher. You know, we got to admit here that this guy's kind of humanoid, not quite. So I think they've done a fine job here getting some good articulation out of him. I will say better for sure than the Masterpiece movie series Starscream. That one was a bit rough. But yeah, this guy's got it where it counts, and you can get him in some really awesome poses. So let's go ahead and talk about those accessories now. And I'm just going to start with the face because, well, we've been staring at that face way too long. So let's go ahead and put his standard issue face on so we can do something about this. So all you do, there's nothing to it. Just take it, push it on. There you go. What a difference. Now he looks like the Bonecrusher that we remember. Yeah, so yeah, it looks pretty good. Pretty seamless. Then to take it off, you're just going to pull it off, and then you can put on the face that Optimus Prime remembers. So take this little guy right here, push that on. Uh-oh. That's Popeye Bonecrusher. Sorry, dude. Bet you didn't see that coming. See what I did there? No, you don't see what I did there. See? Oh, it's 2 jokes. All right, so let's go ahead and leave that on. I'm doing absolutely horrible jokes. So anyway, okay, so now the next thing that we'll talk about is, get on back a little bit, is the claw. So as we stated earlier, you have the 2 claws. You have this big oversized claw that you use in his bot mode, and then you have this normal size claw that you use in his alt mode. These are pretty limited, as we discussed. You've got some up, you've got some down, so you can do kind of that much of a split. And that's about it. So with the big claws, you get a lot more range of motion. So spread these out, move these around, rotate these, whatever you want to do. So it definitely adds to the character the actual characteristics of Bonecrusher over here. So if we plug this in, and then you've got this. Now, like I said, you can angle these whichever way you want. I'm just going to go with this just for the purposes of this demonstration. So I'm going to raise my camera back up now because, well, he's a big guy. All right, so then you're just going to connect these, and this is a simple connector. You're just going to line these up and give these a push. I say they're simple, give them a push, there we go. And there you go. So now you have his claws on and ready to pose however you want. So if you want to bring them over and get crazy. Uh-oh, I disconnected what I just connected. And there we go. Come on. There we go. Okay. So if you want to do something, I know you can't see that. I'm going to get there for you. If you want to do something like that, you can do something like that, and it's way up there. If you want to do something a little more predictable, I guess, you could do this and have them coming forward, and then of course flip these claws around however you like. But yeah, definitely adds to the personality, definitely adds to the posability, all kinds of awesome cool stuff that you can do with these. Really just multiple joints where you can change these, you can bring them together if you wanted to lift these up and do something like that. So you're now coming together to snatch somebody or something. You can do that. So there you go. Yeah, I like them. All kinds of cool stuff you can do here. Just keep into account, it is going to change your overall center of gravity for the figures. So do be careful as you're moving these around. He's either going to get front heavy, back heavy, that kind of stuff on you. All right, so we've talked about the face. We've talked about the claws, which are so cool and so much fun. And now we're going to talk about the flames. What I'm going to do here, just to save time for me, save time for you, make things a little bit cleaner, each of these has a specific place they go. So they're not really interchangeable. What I'm going to do, there's 6 pieces of these. I'm just going to do a quick edit. I'm going to get these on Bonecrusher, and then after I have them on, I'm just going to show you. There's nothing to it. You just plug them in where they go. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then boom, we'll keep going. And just like that, here we see Bonecrusher in all of his fully accessorized fiery glory, and I think he looks pretty amazing right here. This is definitely a shelf-worthy figure, who is also fun to play with. So that's always a plus. So yeah, you can see as far as the flames go, what they add. I think they've done a fine job here of integrating those flames into the figure and making it actually look like he's on fire. So really cool. You have, like I said, you have 6 of them. So you've got the one that attaches to his arm here. You have shoulder flame. You have other shoulder flame. You got some hip flame. You've got, yep. And then down here at the foot, you've got some foot flame as you pretend to recreate that scene where he's roller skating through that bus on the highway on his way to meet his ultimate demise at the hands of Optimus Prime. So yeah, it looks really cool. And I do have his forks up in the position that I prefer. So overall, I think he's just a really cool, intimidating figure here, even with a little bit of a Popeye. Of course, as he's roller skating through the bus, he has a regular face. He does not have Popeye face. but I think you get the gist of it. So there you go. Now what we're going to do, this is going to be a review only. I'm going to do transformation in a completely separate video because I know I have a tendency to have really long video reviews of these figures, and my gosh, if I do the transformation, this thing is going to be 2 hours long. So what we're going to do from here is we're just going to jump right into the comparisons. Next thing you're going to see, he's going to be in his alt mode. We'll take a look at those, do the comparisons there, but there will be no transformation in this video. It will be posted separately. So here we have Bonecrusher in that really good looking alt mode. It's not perfect by any means, but I think they've done a fine job here of bringing what we saw on the screen, scaling it down into something that you can hold in your hands. So lots of detail on this guy. I wanted to put him on that turntable and just give you a couple of unobstructed 360 degree views just to give you that overall look. The one thing that I will say that I'm kind of picky on, and it's probably not that big of a deal, is just this boom and the claw. I am struggling because the joints are ratcheted. I just can't find that right combination to bring that boom down low enough where I think it should be without actually touching the vehicle part. So this is my compromise right here. You can of course pose yours any way you want, but this is how I did mine. But yeah, you can see I think that they've done a pretty good job, other than me being a little picky there and missing the spot, if you will, on some paint applications that would have gone a long way. Overall shape of the figure in this alt mode looks really good. So what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and we'll get that turntable out of the way, and I'll bring Bonecrusher in for his close-up, and we'll take a look at some of those nice little details that they've added to this alt mode. Now that we have the turntable out of the way, let's go ahead and bring Bonecrusher in and take a look at those details in this nice alt mode. And we're going to start right up front here. So you can see you've got some pretty good detail there. You've got some nice silver headlights, and you do have some writing. It's going to be really difficult to focus on, but it's basically just saying left, right, and it's got some PSI, some air pressure readings on there. So I assume it's for whatever mechanism would be around there. And then coming over here to the side, get a nice look right there. So this is the Buffalo Minesweeper by General Dynamics, and I think they captured it pretty well. Looks pretty good. As I stated earlier, it could have used a little bit more paint in some places. That boom arm could have benefited from the paint. This exhaust could have benefited as well. Just a few other places, but that overall sculpt work is pretty good. So just coming up here, taking a look at that detail right there just in the front. And then you've got these three, look like maybe mirrors or possibly cameras or possibly lights right there. So pretty nice. And then you've got all those rivets around the windows. You've got the mirror right there that's got that silver paint on it. You got all those tires that say Megatron everywhere. And then bringing it back out a little bit, and you can see those three sets of windows. And then you've got Bonecrusher right there, so that's pretty cool. A little decal that he's got. And coming around to the back. And then, oh, let's go ahead and look at that boom arm. So there you go, you've got a little bit of orange there, you got some sculpt work coming up. Making our way down. Looks good. Looks like you've got that hook right there. And then whatever's going on up here. And then coming to the back. Starting back here first, you've got tail lights, you've got brake lights, very cool. You have this completely random, move that arm out of the way, you've got this completely random lettering here. If somebody knows what this is all about, let me know. Because I'm not sure what FPimp CV bunch of numbers is. So, oh, and then you have this ladder, which you can collapse, you can leave up, it's up to you, however you want to do that, but I'm going to leave it down for now so you can see the texturing right there for that diamond plate. And then a window in the back, you've got your little lights on top, very cool. And then coming around to this side, basically the same thing as the other side. No major differences here as far as that goes. And then top view right there, and from the bottom, boom arm's going to fall a little bit, and you've got all that good stuff going on right there. So yeah, this is a good looking vehicle. I think they've done a fine job here. I think General Dynamics should be proud of what they've captured. Also, something to note on those fenders, you've got those little turn indicators right there with the little bit of paint, a little bit of orange on them. So yeah, job well done. Like I said earlier, I'm really struggle with this boom arm, trying to find the right angle for it, and it's just too heavy for this ratchet joint right here. If it would just hold it right there, it would be great, but it wants to collapse. So you either have it up like that and hope it stays, or you can click it down here on this joint right there, which is a little tougher, and then have it sitting about like that. So however you want to do it, it's up to you. As you can see though, this is a very, shaking my camera, but it is a very free rolling vehicle. Wheels turn nice and easy on it. Everything levels up nicely. So yeah, job well done. Now, as far as overall articulation, boom arm, you know, you can do what you want to do here. So you've got a point of rotation right there where you can move that so your sweeper is upside down. You can move it back. Of course, you can do your normal Bonecrusher stuff and split these right here. You can swing this around to the front. So I have found that if you've got this sitting at that angle right there, it's easier if you swing it around this direction. That way it doesn't rub right there. But yeah, you can swing this around to the front and bring that down, and then you can do your scene from the movie. We're going to have a stunt volunteer come in to give you that example, and you've got barricade, and you can do that and lift barricade up and throw him and do all that other good stuff. So that's totally up to you. But yeah, I think pretty nice. So the only articulation really that you have is that boom arm. Nothing else does anything. Your doors don't open, anything like that. So he is kind of fixed, a static figure as far as that goes. It would have been nice if there would have been a way to integrate the flames in this mode as well, so you could, you know, have him looking like he's, you know, driving and burning a la Ghost Rider. That would have been pretty cool, but because they are so specific in where they go and how they fit, nothing matches here. The other thing that you could do is you could swap out your forks, your sweepers for these if you want to do that in that mode. One other thing that I think would have just been just icing on the cake for me, it's just a weird thing that I think would have been kind of cool, is if you could have had some way on the front to mount the face. You know, just would have been kind of cool. Thinking of Maximum Overdrive, the movie Maximum Overdrive, where the semi had that big green goblin face on the grill. Could have done something like that. Or you could have, you know, hey, with Popeye action. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I would say details, very well done. Nice, accurate alt mode. Articulation, it's a car. What are you going to do? And then not much that you can, well, it's not a car. It's a vehicle. And then accessories, you can go buck wild with this, but you can't really do anything with the fire. So now that we've talked about all that, let's go ahead and get into those comparisons. For our first alt mode comparison, we're going to go all the way back and start with the OG. So this is the G1 Constructicon Bonecrusher. Moving on to our next comparison. This is the figure that came out for the release of that 2007 movie. So this is that original 2007 Bonecrusher figure. Next up, this is the Transformers Studio Series version of Bonecrusher from that 2007 movie. And for our final alt mode comparison, this is the Masterpiece movie series Barricade. I figured it would just make sense to bring in a fellow MPM Decepticon so we can check out that scale between the two. And I think they've almost got the scale right. I feel like he should still be a little bit bigger in comparison to Barricade over here, but they still look pretty good together. That's going to do it for the alt mode comparisons. Let's go ahead and jump into those bot mode comparisons now. For our first bot mode comparison, we're going to start with the OG. This is the G1 Constructicon Bonecrusher. Next up is the Bonecrusher figure that was released in conjunction with the premiere of that 2007 Bayverse Transformers movie. Moving on to our next comparison, this is the Studio Series version of Bonecrusher from that 2007 movie. Since Optimus Prime was the one who terminated Bonecrusher in that 2007 movie, I thought it was only appropriate to bring an Optimus Prime in. Now, this is not the MPM or Masterpiece movie series Optimus Prime. I don't have that one in my collection. This is just the leader class Optimus Prime figure that was released for the Revenge of the Fallen movie. Now for the last few comparisons, we're going to be showcasing the Masterpiece movie series Bonecrusher next to some MPM or Masterpiece movie series Decepticons, and we're going to start with Barricade. Next up is that sniveling second in command. This is the Masterpiece movie series Starscream. Here's another big bad bot, and one of my favorites. This is the Masterpiece movie series Decepticon Blackout. And last but certainly not least, this is the Masterpiece movie series version of Megatron as we saw him from that 2007 movie. And finally, just because this looks completely awesome, here we see a group shot of all those Masterpiece movie series Decepticons so far. And man, what a really, really cool group. This definitely brings out the inner child in me. So I hope you enjoy this as much as I do. That's going to do it for the bot mode comparison. So let's go ahead and get into those final thoughts. So there we have the Transformers Masterpiece movie series Decepticon Bonecrusher. And man, this figure makes me happy. This is really cool. There's hardly anything to not like here except for maybe the price. So let's go ahead and just jump into it and get to our bullets, and we'll start with that first one. The overall looks of the figure, the aesthetic that he brings. This guy's almost perfect as far as I'm concerned for what you get for being an official licensed Masterpiece. This guy is just rocking it everywhere. He looks so good in his bot mode, incredibly movie accurate, and then that alt mode just as well. I mean, the fact that you can actually convert this guy and he looks the way he's supposed to look in both modes, job well done, incredible engineering on it, and it actually results in a figure with an incredible shelf presence. This guy is quickly turning into one of my favorite Masterpiece movie series figures for sure. About the only thing that I could complain about as far as the overall looks with this guy is he could have benefited from some more paint in his bot mode. There are a few spots that are just kind of monotone where they could have broken it up. A few areas where you've got some mechanical detail like down here in those feet, you know, just a little splash of silver or something here to break it up. And then when he's in his alt mode, just the back of the alt mode, you can kind of see those feet when they're all folded up. So it's not a perfect alt mode where the bot completely disappears, but man, he does everything so darn well. He's just so much fun to look at. I can't stop looking at him, especially in his bot mode. Great shelf presence. So I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10 for the overall looks. Moving on to the articulation. Again, for a Masterpiece figure, for a figure this size and for everything that he does, he has incredible articulation. This one is one of the best articulated Masterpiece figures that I've seen. This guy's pretty much got everything you could hope for except for the ab crunch. But man, you can get him in some positions. He's super stable. As you can see, I have him precipitously balanced on the turntable, and he's hanging in just fine. So all kinds of happy about that. Great range of motion pretty much in every bit of him. So not a lot to complain about there. Additionally, with that accessory, you can put that in all kinds of different positions as well. Just keep in mind that's going to throw your center of gravity off. So, make appropriate accommodations when it comes to that. But yeah, all the way from good motion in the head, of course, the waist rotation, the double jointed elbows, good range of motion. He's a little bit limited in his shoulders, but I don't even want to use that word limited because the position that this guy is in, just his overall figure, he's kind of a hunched over hulking figure, and it just works just fine for him. So everything about this guy as far as articulation is really good. The only thing that I would say is, this is more of a design issue, is I would have liked to have seen ratcheted hips for the splits. So those are just on friction pins, so I would have liked to have had some ratchets there. Just maybe over time they might get a little loose, so something to be aware of there. And then the shoulder flaps when you have him in his bot mode, so right up here, just watch out with the interaction of the shoulder flaps with those shoulders and make sure you don't get that caught. But articulation, other than those few little things, very well done. I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10 there as well. Moving on to his accessories. These are appropriate. They're not exciting, but they are definitely appropriate for the figure from the film. So it's not like he had a big gun. It's not like he had anything like that. He has his claws and he's got those flames, and it works. And, throw in the bonus of the Popeye. And I think the accessories just work for this guy. They're not mind-blowing. They don't get me super excited, but they work. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 for his accessories. Overall quality, I have no issues. There's nothing that I'm going to complain about here. For the price that you pay, all my joints are tight. Everything tabs in as it should. He looks great. No paint issues that I could see anywhere on the figure. So this is a nice benchmark as far as the overall quality, as you would expect for this price point. So no issues here. I'm going to go ahead and give him a 10 out of 10. The only thing that I would say, not really quality, but design, I mentioned it earlier, is just these hips. Just over time, concerns about those getting a little loose. But 10 out of 10 for quality. Out of the box, this guy's great. Bringing us to our last bullet, which is overall value. This is one of those figures. I mean, you're going to pay for Masterpiece figures. I don't know, nothing personal against him. I just don't know if the Masterpiece movie figures are worth what's being charged right now. I simply don't know if they're worth the MSRP, especially when you consider you've got a lot of really good third-party companies out there that are competitively priced who would bring this level of design and engineering, if not better sometimes, to some of their figures. So it's just something worth keeping in mind. For me personally, I found this guy in the wild. The week that he came out, I picked him up off of a shelf in a local Target for $165, which is the MSRP. Technically speaking, I paid $150 because I had a coupon, but the MSRP is $165, which is probably what you'll find him at. I think it's fine, but I really think, sincerely, this is probably a $120 to $130 figure. I think $165 is starting to push the high end on this, where it's really going to get out of reach of affordability for folks. So I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10 for overall value. I would say if you're not in a big rush to get this guy, you know, he might be a little less expensive down the road. There might be some surplus. I know that Ross stores here in the United States, they have a tendency to pick up the leftover Transformers that don't get sold from Target, Walmart, etc., and have them on a discount. My Masterpiece movie series Bumblebee actually came from Ross. So something maybe to think about there if you're not in a big hurry for him. So that brings us to our grand total. Out of a possible 50 points, the Masterpiece movie series Bonecrusher gets 43 out of 50. It puts him at 86%, and I would say this guy is definitely a recommendation from me if you don't have any issues with that purchase price. There is nothing at all wrong with this figure other than the price. He looks great, plenty of articulation. He's fun to play with. The transformation is very involved. It's not difficult. It's not frustrating. There's just a lot of steps to this guy, which is why I'm going to have that transformation in a separate video. But once you get the hang of it, he's fun to transform, looks good in both of his modes. I have very little to complain about. If you can find him for less than MSRP, then definitely go for that. So with that, that's going to wrap it up. I hope you guys got some good information. I hope you got some entertainment out of this. And if you haven't already done so, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to comment if you want to, subscribe to the channel. And one last favor to ask, if you know of anyone that might like the channel or what we do here, please share this video, share the channel. It's always fun to watch the community grow. So with that, it's going to wrap it up. Until we see you guys in the next review, take care.